Boxing truth here. More bullshit coming from Al Haymon fighters. As the current IBF champ at super welterweight, Jermall Charlo has yet to sign on the dotted line. In a proposed fight against mandatory challenger of the IBF, Julian Williams. Now, this fight was reported to be done quite some time ago. Was supposed to take place in a date in October in the Los Angeles area, but now it's being reported that the fight is still not signed, sealed, and delivered, and it may not happen as Jermall Charlo is not satisfied with the purse that he's been offered to fight Julian Williams. Now, this is not surprising. Al Haymon fighters are just coming out more and more delusional by the day. Purse demands, a lot of them have been spoiled. A lot of them have been getting purses really that they don't even generate in reality. A lot of these guys in Al Haymon stable are no seven-figure fighters. They're truthfully 500K or below fighters. They don't generate type of viewership or put asses in the seats compared to some other fighters. I mean, how many fighters in Al Haymon stable truly seven-figure fighters in reality, not being paid off by PBC money that appears to be declining now that the purses, for whatever reason, are not the same as they used to be. Just look at Robert Guerrero's last purse against the cab driver he just lost from Argentina this past Saturday. He took a major pay cut. Only $500K to fight a cab driver. He was getting seven figures for the past 3 of his fights. Even against a tune-up fight that he was supposed to look good in against Aaron Martinez. He got a cool $1 million for a get-back fight that he almost lost. But Guerrero's been watched for quite some time. He's been done. He's no good welterweight. And now the PBC purses are not what they used to be. But in Jermall Charlo's case, I don't see what the issue is. From what I can tell, I don't know if he's ever made seven figures. I don't think he has. He didn't come close to it in his last fight against Austin Trout. He had no problem fighting Trout for $500K. So what is the issue with Julian Williams? Why does he feel that a fight between himself and Julian Williams is worth millions? I mean, how delusional can you be? Now, Jermall Charlo is certainly entitled to his opinion, but I strongly disagree. Neither of you guys are big draws. Neither of you guys are putting major asses in the seats or providing the type of viewership to demand millions for a fight between you guys. Now, I'm not saying Julian Williams and his team are holding up the fight at all. Actually, I think they're ready to go. Brenman, his trainer, is ready to go. He's been in the dark, doesn't know what's going on. He's been having doubts all along that this fight was going to happen, and it's starting to become true. I don't even think Julian and his team even care what purse they're offering for this fight. They just want a shot at the title. He wants to be a champion. He's the next in line. He just wants to fight. Doesn't even matter who it is. Doesn't even have to be Jermall Charlo. He wants the shot at the strap, the IBF title. But there just seems to be some resistance all along from the other side, and that's Jermall Charlo. Rumblings about moving up in weight, that he's too big for the weight, that he might move up. Just great timing when you finally have a challenger who's the most interesting opponent to date in Charlo's career. This is the fight that I'm having any interest in when it comes to Jermall Charlo's career, and Julian Williams as well. These guys haven't been fighting the type of opponents that I'm dying to see fight. Jermall Charlo, his best opponent to date is Austin Trout. Won the strap from an old ass Bundridge, knocked him out. Got in a voluntary defense, a cherry pick against Wilkie Kempford. Then he fought Austin Trout and had a life and death struggle, but won the fight close on the cards. But now he's going to fight a young, hungry challenger in Julian Williams, who is still unproven and still untested. Hasn't really been given the type of development to see if he is the goods or if he is for real. There's still a lot of questions Julian Williams needs to answer. And I'm hoping Jermall Charlo will take that challenge so we can find out some of the answers to these questions. I think it's a good fight. I think it's an interesting fight. And it's a fight that I'll be interested in watching. Possibly the best fight, if it went down, that's been made at 154 pounds this year. But Jermall Charlo, for whatever reason, all of a sudden thinks he's worth millions against a challenger who's yet to do anything extraordinary in his career. Is no big name, not a big star. It's just a guy climbing up the rankings that has earned his shot at the title. So, I don't know what Charlo's going to do. Doesn't seem like the fight is going to go down with the demands Charlo is making. Feels he's worth $1 million for this fight, possibly more. And I can see him possibly vacating the belt, and Julian Williams may end up fighting Tony Harrison, who's the next highest rated available contender within the IBF. But if Charlo does that, then he'll be looked as a complete ducker. A guy who's scared to death of Julian Williams. Really a guy who's done nothing in his career. He looks like a good fighter. He looks good. He's had some good performances, but very soft-ass opposition he's been fighting. And to run away from a guy like that? And to do what? Where are you going to go? Where's Charlo going to go if he vacates that strap? I mean, I would like him to take this fight against Julian Williams, because it's a good fight. It's an interesting fight. The most interesting fight in both guys' fighters' careers. But I would like Charlo to take this fight and then move up, since he's not willing to fight any of the other guys at 154 pounds. He's not going to fight Lara. He's not going to fight... Obviously, he's not going to fight his brother. So, what's the point of him sticking around? But I would like him to fulfill his mandatory obligation first, and then maybe move up to fight somebody else in Al Haymon's stable at middleweight. Possibly Jacobs or Quillen, whatever. But to go running now, to avoid his mandatory challenge, and not take a fight that a lot of fans will be interested in, he'll be perceived as a ducker and a cherry picker. A guy that ran away from his toughest challenge to date. Well, at least by the eye test. A guy who's young, hungry, fresher than Austin Trout, and a guy who a lot of people would favor to beat Trout had they fought, and Julian Williams, since he was trying to get that fight as well. Guy he's been unable to get any fights, and now he may just be avoided once again by Jermall Charlo, who's delusional enough to think that this fight is worth millions of dollars. Fucking Al Haymon fighters. There's no point in being a fan of an Al Haymon fighter, especially the guys that Haymon fully controls. Guys like Porter, Durman, Broner, Garcia. They'll just end up disappointing you. They'll duck and cherry pick. They'll only fight once a year. Or they'll fight a bunch of no-hopers in between until finally taking on a tough challenge. And they won't step up to take a big fight. There's just too many guys ain't stepping up. not willing to take challenges, not willing to stand out from the group of these disappointing Al Haymon fighters. And this is why these guys are not threading the needle. They're not generating great interest in a lot of these fighters, because they're not doing what needs to be done. Some of them won't even fight their mandatories. But we'll see what goes down in this situation. I'm hoping the fight happens, but I'm not holding my breath. I'd like to see this fight. Be interesting to see. Finally get to find out if Julian is for real. Be a good test for both guys. And I'm not sure who would have won, but definitely it would have been a 50-50 fight. Maybe it's Charlo being a slight favorite, but how he's behaving, how he's acting, doesn't look like him and his team have ever wanted this fight. They're the ones that have been putting up the resistance, not Julian Williams. Maybe they don't want that work, so now they're trying to price themselves out of the fight. But if Charlo vacates, he's just another pussy Haymon fighter that's ducking and cherry picking. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.